In this video, I am going to be ranking random people's content on LinkedIn to determine if they're doing a good job at getting buyers for their services. Now, I'm going to be ranking their content under 3 fundamentals. Number 1, the topic of the post. Number 2, their copywriting skills. And number 3, their ability to turn their viewers into buyers. So without any further ado, let's dive in and check out this content. So I want you to take a look at my screen right now. So now this is my LinkedIn newsfeed. So right off the bat, I see one post right here by Daniel Findlay. So let's take a look at this. So his post says, first line is 3 phases introverts need to hear more. Number 1, we don't measure your value by how much you speak. Number 2, take all the time you need to process. Number 3, your ability to listen and analyze is remarkable. When someone feels more empowered, they're more likely to want to develop in other areas. What do you have planned for this weekend? Hashtag motivation, hashtag leadership, best advice, communication skills. P.S. I have recently created a free 10-minute training to help you become more confident in social situations. Here's the link to watch, and then a photo with him. So right off the bat, the title is not bad, right? 3 phases an introvert needs to hear more. So it actually gives me a reason to keep reading the post. So I would give that title as a hook an 8 out of 10, so that's solid. Then I noticed he put a lot of spacing here, and I know that's more of like a marketing thing so that you do click to see more. But here's the thing though, the more shortcuts you take with your content and kind of like space things out, hoping you get more viewers, it actually looks worse. So I would deduct a few points for that right off the bat. Then he lists things out. We don't measure your value. Okay, number 1, 2, 3, great. He's added the value. I get it. And then he says, what do you have planned for this weekend? Which I don't really like. And I'll tell you why. I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to build a connection with his audience, but it has nothing to do with his post, right? It's just too much. And then he has a second call to action saying, P.S. I have a free training. If you'd like to watch it, here's the link. So now you've literally told people 2 things. You've asked them what's their plans for the weekend, and you've told them to go watch a training video. Remember this, in marketing, whenever you're trying to get clients, you want to just tell them to do one thing. So if he's going to ask people what their plan is for the weekend, okay, that's one thing to do, but just pick one. And personally, I wouldn't ask random people what their plans are for the weekend. It doesn't really have anything to do with your business. I get what you're trying to do, but overall, I would say that's not a good idea. And then he put a link to his training video or training in the post. When you put links on your post on LinkedIn, you're actually decreasing the reach of the post, because LinkedIn doesn't like when you have links on your post because you're taking people off the platform. They don't like that. They don't want that. So never put links in your post. You can direct them to a link on your profile. LinkedIn allows us to have links there. So I would deduct a point from there. And then also looking at his photo's great. It's a nice photo of him, professionally taken. It's not a stock image or anything like that, so that's an extra point right there. So overall, decent post. I would give this post a 6.5 out of 10. I get what he's doing. There's a little bit of good stuff here, but there's a lot of mistakes that he could have easily overcome if he built it out right. Okay, so let's continue scrolling and find another post here. So let me just keep going down. Okay, so let's take a look at this post right here by Dr. Cecilia. Let's take a look at her profile right here. So Dr. Cecilia helps female entrepreneurs manage chronic stress to reduce anxiety so that they can have more energy to focus on their business. Okay, cool. That's a great offer. Let's take a look at that piece of content we were just looking at here. So right off the bat, the first line says, how I regulate my nervous system to feel calm and at ease. Do you often feel tense? Maybe it's muscle tension. Maybe it's worry and anxiety. Perhaps a racing mind and tiredness. It doesn't really matter how the stress manifests for you. What matters is that stress keeps you in fight or flight. It keeps your sympathetic nervous system activated, and that leads to unpleasant symptoms from pain to dizziness to insomnia and so on. You're not alone. Those symptoms are common. Regulating your nervous system is a bit like self-care. Well, it is self-care, but you know what I mean. There are many ways to do it, and you want to find what works best for you. Here's what I do, and I hope it will give you some ideas. Journaling, go for a walk, social media break, breathing exercises, mindfulness practices, grounding techniques, a long Epsom salt bath, nature walks, especially forests. Once you do this on a regular basis, they'll become habits, and you'll balance your nervous system without even thinking of it. P.S. What are fun things you have planned for this weekend? Hashtag mental health, hashtag chronic stress, hashtag health coaching, and then a nice photo of Dr. Cecilia right here. So right off the bat, let's diagnose this post. So the first line is how I regulate my nervous system to feel calm and at ease. That's actually a really good hook, because she's not telling people what to do. She's just talking about herself and her own experiences. This is really good, right? Remember, People don't like to be told what to do, but they love to hear about how you did it. And that's exactly what she did in that first line. How I regulate my nervous system to feel calm and at ease. Then she says, her next line, do you often feel tense? Maybe it's muscle tension, maybe it's worry and anxiety. Now, I don't like these next lines at all because it doesn't connect with her first line. It's almost like she was deceiving us because she started off saying how I regulate my nervous system to feel calm and at ease, and then just goes into a whole different topic and says, do you feel tense? Maybe it's muscle tension, maybe it's worry. And then only all the way at the bottom of the post, she explains what she does. Here's the thing, if you're gonna tell someone something, get to the point as quickly as possible. Now, she does do it, so I'll give her credit for that. So I'll give her a point for that, but I will deduct 2 points because she didn't get to the point fast enough. And then also she did the same thing as the previous post where she put a couple lines here so that people would click the see more button. I'm telling you, it's a bit of an inauthentic way to market and I wouldn't recommend that, so I'd also deduct a point here. So at the end of the post, she does have a small kind of call to action asking people what their plans are for the weekend. Again, it didn't really have anything to do with this post, so I wouldn't deduct a point, but I wouldn't give her a point for that at all, right? So overall, I would give this post a 7 out of 10. So it's good, I get what she's doing, she had the right idea with the post, but the structure should have been better. You know, what I would have done to make this post a 9 out of 10 is right after the first line, I would take this second part of explaining what she does and list it out. Then give a bit of a story, give some context. Remember, you want to engage your audience. People don't invest in coaching, they invest into the coach. So Dr. Cecilia, what I would recommend for you is actually just keep telling stories about your experience, your life, your patient's experience, your client's experience, and that rather than just telling people what to do. So if you can fix that, I'm telling you you'll be good. But your copywriting skills are really good. I like how you've done it in the LinkedIn format, which is that line by line format. So overall, 7 out of 10, good start, but there's a bunch of things you can improve on. So keep going with that and I'm sure you'll get a lot better. Okay, so with that being said, let's check out another post here and rate this one out of 10. So I found another post here that I'd like to show you. So take a look at this one right here. So this is by Jennifer Payne. Jennifer Payne is a career coach for women in tech. So very straightforward what she does. She helps women in tech get into tech or get jobs in tech, something of that nature. So let's go and look at this post over here. So the post starts off with quitting is for winners. Why? Because it can help you get out of a bad work environment. I experienced this myself. I had a toxic boss who didn't support me in my job. I suffered from severe stress. I opened up about it and he didn't care. So I quit. I'm here to tell you that quitting is for winners when you are underpaid, are overworked, have a toxic boss, don't get promoted, realize this job is not it, have no work-life balance, don't see a clear career path, and are on the verge of a burnout, are not appreciated or recognized, are no longer allowed to work from home, or realize the company doesn't care about its own values. Quitting your job can be an act of self-love and self-care. It means having the confidence to make choices that align with your values and aspirations. Each time you quit something that doesn't serve you, you are making space for what truly matters. If you're a woman in tech and you like this type of content, follow me on LinkedIn. Now, I love this post. This post hits on everything. So let's take this from the top. First thing right here, quitting is for winners. Controversial hook. I like it. That's great. That's going to grab some attention and get me thinking. What I don't like is I don't like how she bolded it. I don't think you need to bold your text or anything like that. Just keep it natural. Keep it good. So what I love about this post is that she immediately went into a story. She said, I experienced this myself. I had a toxic boss who didn't support me in my job, right? She was talking about her own experiences. She's not just telling people, go and quit your job. It's good for you, right? No one's going to believe that. And people would actually probably get angry at that, reading a kind of post like that. But instead she talked about her own experience about how she was in a bad job. She didn't like it. She didn't feel respected. She didn't felt like, things were not working out the way she wanted to. And then when she was done telling her story, she added her own perspective at the end, saying, quitting your job can be an act of self-love and self-care, right? This is getting people to connect. And then at the end of the post, she had a nice soft call to action. She said, if you're a woman in tech and you like this type of content, follow me on LinkedIn. Love that, right? She's not telling people to buy anything right now, but she's building the audience. The picture's super professional. So overall, I would give this post here a 9 out of 10. It's a great post to build brand, to start building an audience of buyers, to start getting people excited. Okay, so now I want to go and look for a post where someone's directly trying to get buyers and rate that post out of 10. So let's dive in and let's find one like that. Okay, so after a bunch of scrolling, I finally found a post where someone was directly trying to sell their services. So let's take a look at this one. So this is by a gentleman by the name of Tuomo Conan. Again, if I'm pronouncing this wrong, my apologies. So he is a high achiever coach. So I'm assuming he helps high achievers in something what they do. So let's take a look at this post. So he says, I'm going to let you under the hood into my coaching practice. And what I believe is going to be one of the most empowering and purpose-driven replacement for goal setting. With my coaching clients, we are less interested in getting SMART goals and more into PLEs. Peak life experiences. These are micro and macro experiences with high and positive emotional charge. They create memories for lifetime and put us into a state of flow where we feel our best and perform our best. Goals are often taught through the lens of what I can get from the world's V's, what I can experience in the case of PLEs. I personally create these micro peak life experiences whenever I get up to run in the mountains through wild, lush technical trails. I'm in flow and fully connected. One of my clients just set himself a macro PLE for 2024 that he thought was impossible, yet he was willing to play the game. Because it is always more about experience instead of achievement, keep that in mind when you set goals or perhaps create micro and macro peak life experiences. Tuomo, Peak Lifestyle Trainer. P.S. If you're interested to find out more of my process and high performance coaching, then send me a message or leave a comment below with the word coaching. And then there's a photo of him over here. So, Tuomo, if you're watching this video right now, I get what you're trying to do. I get that you're trying to get buyers for it, but there's a better way to do it than this, and I'm gonna help you with that right now. So look, right off the bat, the first line, you say, I'm gonna let you under the hood into my coaching practice. Fine, not a great hook, but not a bad hook either. I would say something a bit like, I would change it, right? You wanna get people interested. Instead of saying, I'll let you under the hood of my coaching practice, people are gonna look at that and be like, okay, what's that all about? You know, like, who cares as much? And I'm not trying to be rude, I swear to you, but you have to understand people are inundated with content all day, every day. So you have to know how to grab their attention better. So instead, I would say, my coaching practice does something almost illegal. Something like that, right? Now people are like, what? What do you mean? How's this going, right? So I'm not saying you need to have that line specifically, but just something where you're grabbing attention. So that's how I would change that first line. And then you said, and what I believe is to be one of the most empowering and purpose-driven replacement for goal setting. With my coaching clients, we are less interested in setting SMART goals and more in PLE, peak life experiences. Okay, so you mentioned the word PLE a lot. Just because you mentioned what it was, peak life experience, I wouldn't drop this term nonstop in the post. You mentioned it like 5 times, and the reality is people aren't gonna know. It's like I actually had a bit of difficulty reading this post because I was like, PLE, what's that again? This. Remember this always. You need to make your post simple. Imagine a 12-year-old who has no idea about what you do, who you are, is reading it, and your job is to grab their attention to get them to pay you for your services, right? This post is way too advanced. I would need to know exactly who this man is, what he does, everything about him for me to completely understand this post. I've read this post twice and I still don't understand it. So again, I'm not trying to, run you to the ground here and say this is a terrible post, but I'm trying to help you more than anything else, if you ever watch this video. So then at the end of the post, you make an offer and you say, if you're interested to find out more about my coaching process, my high performance coaching, then message me or leave me a comment with the word coaching. You haven't sold me on the idea. That's number one. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. It's a little bit different here or there. But overall, you haven't sold me on the idea. So you're going to get very little engagement on this. And you're telling people to do 2 things. You're saying DM me or comment below. Just pick one. Again, you can't tell people to do 2 things. Just tell them to do one. You'll get better results. Also, looking at the formatting of the post here, everything's like mini paragraphs, right? Instead, make it line by line posts. LinkedIn loves those line by line posts. The goal is to get to the point as quickly as possible. So if I were to redo this post right now, I would start off with a better hook and say something along the lines of, my coaching practice is almost illegal with the things I do with my clients. I get them results in ways that people couldn't even imagine. And then you can say, the problem is most people are taught to just set goals in a smart way. But I've found that to be one of the worst ways to get clients. Be polarizing, right? Call things out. Do it line by line. Your next line could be, my method of setting goals changes the way people live and view their life. And then I would give a specific example, right? And say, I had a client last month who had this specific goal, right? And the way I helped him set it was this, right? Talk about your experiences. So then looking at the call to action here you have at the end, you're saying, if you're interested to find out more about my process and high performance coaching. Boring. I'm telling you, no one wants to find out more about your process. What people do want is give them something. Give before you ask, right? So you could say, if you'd like access to the formula that I personally used with my client that allowed him to make an extra $20,000 or allowed him to, run a marathon within a month of training, just comment train below and I'll personally send it over to you. Give value before you just offer your coaching services. Give them something, and then once you've given them that, then you can have a conversation with them in the DMs, or then you can have a call to action to get them to book a call, right? You got to do it this way. You got to think of the buyer. The problem is you're not thinking of the buyer so much, you're thinking more of yourself. So just make those changes and you can turn this post. So overall, I would give this post a 5 out of 10 because again, I know his heart's in the right place and he's trying to give value, but you got to fix a lot of things in this, right? You can easily turn this post from a 5 to an 8 out of 10 with the changes I just told you. On that note, I'm going to wrap up this video now. So if you enjoyed this video where I'm actually rating people's content, giving them advice on how they can create better content to get more buyers looking at them, then just comment below. Let me know that you enjoyed this video and I'll keep doing more of them. Look, the whole purpose of this entire YouTube channel right now is for me to help you get more clients from LinkedIn. I want you to run a 6-figure online business just using LinkedIn, all organically, right? This is exactly what I teach my clients. This is the value that I'm trying to give to you here on YouTube. So remember, if you have any questions, here's my LinkedIn profile. I'll even put a link to my LinkedIn profile in the description below. Shoot me a message, add me as a connection, tell me you watch this video, whatever. With that being said, that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.